champion of champions crown, the magician, Shaun Murphy.
Heads or toes?
So here we go then, the start of 4 fantastic tournaments here on ITV this season. It begins with the champion of champions, and it begins with the title holder up against one of the hottest properties on the circuit at the moment.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. First frame, Jimmy Robertson to break.
Our referee, by the way, is from Bulgaria, Desislava Bochelova.
Of the title, and he's not had a great deal of success since. Actually, he's had a move to Ireland, 2 young children, his wife Elaine, who is Irish. So a lot of things off the table, but he's always been the same. He's always been extremely professional about everything he does. He just needs a few victories. Not the worst start, is it? What a tremendously cute long leg that was. And it was absolutely dead straight, and he hit it completely full on.
Well, I think that could be a first if we're putting together a compilation of potential shots of the championship for the very first pot to make it onto that list. That really was supreme cueing from Murphy, the first red.
Nice little nudge.
9.
Very interesting to see how this table plays. We know it's new to the tour rather than the tables we're used to seeing, but I think it's interesting. Something else to think about out there, isn't it? Snooker is very formulaic at times. You play on the same table, okay, different conditions worldwide. But now we've got a
16.
different supplier for this event.
Well respected. They supply all of the pool tables for Matchroom multi-sports events such as the World Cup of Pool, the forthcoming US Open, and the big one, the Moscone Cup in December.
Well, he's hit that very, very well. If he's not on that red past the pink, he's unlucky. I mean, you try and hit the pink
22.
full on, and he's clouted that as hard as he could, and with great accuracy once again. Don't know if the red passes. It may do. Well, on that from pocket cam, it says it goes, but it's not a full pocket. Well, you can see from that it's not. You've got to put it on the thick side. No problem.
23.
Knowledgeable crowd here, realising that wasn't easy by any means. He knocked it in as though it was, mind you, and now this is definitely a frame-winning chance.
It's very encouraging, isn't it, this, for Shaun Murphy, as I say. Not had the best of seasons, but
30.
you never see anything different about him. You know, he's very forthright. He marches around the table looking extremely confident. So there's never any indication that his game is not in tip-top shape.
$31.
The highlight of Murphy's career, of course, was winning the World Championship in 2005, and the opening red today was reminiscent of so many pots during that particular Crucible campaign. From distance, Neil, he was a revelation.
38.
Well, I mean, he had always been a good player, but he'd been sort of stuck in the qualifiers for so long, and he took the game by storm that year. And that wonderful cue action lasted the whole
39.
17 days of the Crucible, and many times the players' games will just fall apart somewhere during the second week. If anything, he got better. Well, we've just finished a tournament in Darjeeling
39.
International, and I would say that in Darjeeling this black would have gone in. It was top jaw, but the pocket was having none of it.
Very much agreed. That said, though, off the spot, that was a poor miss. And a relief
1.
for Robertson.
Yes, a black off the spot missed is exactly that, whatever table you're playing on, anywhere in the world. We didn't know he was a good player because he's always been dangerous.
8.
Seemed to have had issues of playing in front of the TV cameras, which he's now put to bed, of course.
He's an attractive player to watch. And over there in Belgium, I think the key to his success ultimately was heart. He was 5-0 up in the final against
30.
Joe Perry. Perry came back to trail only 7-6. You thought Robertson might wobble. No, sir. In fact, he clinched the
14.
title with a century.
Yes, I remember when he won his opening match in the German Masters
19.
when he beat Anthony Hamilton, who was defending champion. He came in and afterwards said that it's his first real win on television, apart from
20.
shootout snooker. Must admit, I wasn't aware of that, so he had no real record of doing well under lights. It's almost a mini version of Joe Johnson when he won the world title.
26.
Very little success previously. Anyway, he's made a good start here.
27.
It was a gift that he was given, but he settled in. To win the frame here would be quite difficult, though. I think
33.
the left-hand red is the problem ball. Because he's a right-hander, and of course he's not going to be able to play it along the cushion
34.
in the same way a left-hander could. He's got into that too much. Well, I don't believe he played round the back of that. If he did, it's a wonderful shot. But I don't think he played it in that way. But he'll take it.
And the cue ball there on the blue, stopping just in the nick of time. This is the crunch moment of the frame, these two awkward reds.
Yeah, this is the ball I was speaking about. Obviously using the rest. Made it look pretty easy. This is, if you like, potentially the last awkward shot in the clearance. Getting in behind the red, and then he goes strong favourite to win the frame if he can do it. Oh, very well played.
52.
So impressive.
Now, playing the shot with screw and making it look again
53.
like it was a simple shot.
So 19 in front, Robertson. All he needs,
58.
yellow and green, and Murphy will require a snooker.
That was not the cleanest ever.
60.
Doesn't matter if it's gone in. But maybe a slightly uncomfortable split second there as it headed towards the jaw.
And losing this opening frame, given the way it's been lost, will really hurt Murphy, because he knows this one should be in his pocket.
$67.
It was an absolutely tremendous opening red. He made 39, going great guns, and then missed a black off its spot. Spent the rest of the frame sitting down.
72.
One phrase comes to mind: there is no substitute for confidence, and Robertson has never been more confident. What a debut in the champion of champions. A terrific first frame in this tournament from Jimmy Robertson. The crown of Shaun Murphy sits there a little uneasy at the moment.
Thank you. Second frame.
Starting the title defence here at the champion of champions, in which he was defeated.
Yes, I mean, you make a mistake at this game, and often if you get away with it, you forget about it. But he sat there and had a good chance to remember what had gone wrong on that block off the spot, watching his opponent clear. What a shot that is. That was from the cue ball nailed to the bolt cushion. That's a fantastic pot. The cue ball is underneath that cushion. Now, if he's straight on this red, if he'd have been just top side, he could have possibly got the black into play, which of course right now is not on. You have to get back up the table here for no value colour. He's got cue power.
Five.
Not sure he even tried to go into them. Certainly wouldn't have tried to go into that left side. The only red that he can pot is the one up the table into the top right. Slips past the blue, but he's looking at what happens should he miss it. What he might leave, because he knows he's not a certainty on this. Played it as if he didn't fancy it.
Robertson, 10.
Well, we know that Murphy's potting from distance is excellent. Maybe he's going to be forced into this.
Well, that is just fantastic.
One.
He looks a little bit surprised how well he hit it. The cue ball is pinged back down the table. What's this? Wow.
That's like when you were playing local league snooker and you turned up somewhere and there was a small white.
Yeah, the balls are all the same size on here. That was amazing, Kieran. What's he got in mind here? Interesting safety shot. Trying to get reds in open play.
One.
Might be playing on a different table to usual, but both players seem to have acclimatised very well. The safety shots have been right to that bolt cushion. Well, there's a couple of options here. Can just see a little bit of the red directly below the pink, which could get him up the table. The left-hand red, this is a tough one to hit thin. Well, it's not the worst shot under pressure. This is not an easy one, doesn't have to play it.
Again, like the previous red, he missed. At least getting the cue ball out of harm's way.
Yeah, used to call that the shark shot. Great white. Half the battle is getting it back into bulk. And if you're not really too keen on the pot itself. That's changed things a little bit with the black in play now. One mistake could cost the frame.
Robertson needed cover on the red that's close to the top right-hand pocket as we're looking at the table, and he hasn't got it.
Yes, it's a question of putting this and just steering the cue ball into as if he's going to head towards that little bunch of four reds. And he needs to avoid that happening. And it's a big shot. If he can get him to a colour, then there are plenty of options for him. Hit it with a lot of right-hand side.
One.
Not perfect by any means. That was a very thin pot. Well, he deserves a bit of good fortune there. That was a very positive pot. As you can see how thin it is. Very thin.
Actually, could not have wished for a better kiss than that, really. But as Neil said, fully deserved.
Nine.
based on previous head-to-head meetings, as Joel told you, Murphy had won all 3 of their previous encounters, 0 and 5-0. But these days, he's struggling a little. Robertson's playing his best ever snooker, and that's why the dynamic has changed. And that was clumsy.
11.
Yes, that was a very surprising shot. He looked a little shocked as how the ball's reacted there. This was the previous shot. Let's have a look at it. Oh, nothing wrong. I think he just overhit it, personally. That's a very good recovery shot.
12.
It's a sign of a very good temperament for any player. He was right in amongst them. Was forced to play quite a difficult shot there. And he's missed a black into that pocket already. This one definitely goes. That was very tentative.
$19.
Black that got him right in. Well, the cannon on the red was meant to be full ball, and he only caught the edge of it.
Based on career achievement, Sean Murphy
More,
has to be regarded as a warm favourite, but based on achievement this season, that man's favourite. It's a really intriguing contest, this.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You mentioned the head-to-head's very one-sided, but Jimmy Robertson hadn't won a ranking tournament at that point, had he? And makes him a different player.
And by his standards, Murphy's really struggled so far this season. From distance, though, already in this match, we've seen 3 absolute peaches. Long pot success, 100%. If you could carry that on over the week, I think we could give him the trophy now. Did the difficult stuff brilliantly in the first frame, but then missed an elementary shot. It's all about eliminating mistakes, Neil.
It certainly is. He's just got an awkward shot again here. I think the format of this tournament is very interesting. You start off playing a best of 7, but the matches get longer. Go straight up to best of 11 for the remainder of the tournament. So if you can just survive this match, you feel you're really involved.
3. Sean Murphy, 3.
That long pot, a sort of different shot to the one he played previously. And he's screwing back down the table. This one is heading him right into bulk or around that area. A bit worried by something off the table there. It's what they call off the table problems, isn't it? There's a great big wasp or something. The kind of thing you don't want anyway. Certainly the first frame was very open. A couple of scoring visits. This one or two chances have gone astray.
Yes, 8 reds left, and already this frame is lengthier than the opener. Oh, there, the yellow is Jimmy Robertson's best friend. Well, I have to say, Neil, first impressions, the table seems to be flowing beautifully, running nicely, responsive.
Yes, it's got 6 pockets on there, isn't it? It should be fine. You know, brand new cloths, expert table fitters looking after it. You think of some of the tables that you play as an amateur on. It's totally different. Looks fine to me. In the amateur days, you'd play on tables with cushions that are only there to stop the balls going on the floor. They've got no other purpose.
Some of them were legendary. Do you remember table 7 up there, upstairs at Pontin's Prestatyn?
I think they had moss growing on it or something up there. I played big matches on them though. The other thing my pet hate was when the snooker balls were not brand new. The in-off there shouldn't be that
Robertson
costly.
4.
Yeah, this looks beautiful. This is a lovely arena as well. Rico. Well played.
One.
It's going to take a good shot to get from colour to his next red. Needs a bit of an extension on the cue. He's just off straight. Well, give it too much, would you believe?
3.
Discovered that the red sneaks to the middle pocket. It certainly wouldn't have been what he played. Either way, may not decide to take it on if it is potable. I don't think it does go actually. Having a chat with the marker. Don't know what about. I'd love to find out. We'll see if we can get onto that. Brendan Moore there.
You're right about the format though, Neil. It's get through these best of 7s and then you can play with more freedom in a race to 6 later that evening. Just win at all costs really, this opening affair. and then get your teeth into the tournament.
Apparently, Sean Murphy was wants some fly spray out there. It's fair enough, isn't it? I can tell you someone else who would have been not keen on insects in the arena, Stephen Hendry. He was terrified of them. Is that the only thing that could stop him in his heyday, you know?
So you brought them in specially?
Well, he wasn't frightened of anyone on the tour.
He was the one who had the sting in the tail. Always used to play his best when it mattered most. These are the hard yards. These kind of frames make so much difference to a match.
Yes, but the fact is, you know, the balls aren't bad if a chance comes. It's not like they've all gone safe, which can often happen when it's scrappy. Now that is a very good safety shot. Let's put Sean Murphy in a bit of strife.
Saw the shot almost immediately, recognised it, executed.
It's one of these situations where you can see a couple of reds full on. There's no problem there, but what on earth can he do with them? Cushion first, I think, with the other red down the table. That's a good containing shot, actually. Well spotted. It's one of those shots, if you miss it, you want to hit the top jaw, so the red comes down this end and the cue ball stays down the other end.
Now, although it's into the opposite middle pocket, this isn't dissimilar to the green that O'Sullivan missed, which allowed Murphy to the table in last year's final to clinch it. No mistake from Sean. Well done.
Five.
His season so far, Murphy, has been
Six.
a tale of woe. First tournament, the Riga Masters in Latvia, whitewashed 4-0 in the last 32 by Zhao Zintong. Didn't qualify for the World Open or the European Masters. Lost his first match in the Paul Hunter Classic as well. Did make the last 16 of the China Championship. Last 32 of the English Open. And he wasn't involved in Darching last week because in the qualifiers here in England that preceded the main tournament, he was whitewashed 6-0 by Sam Baird.
14.
So a favourable result today would do him the world of good.
Well, that's the second.
14.
black off the spot that he's missed.
We've seen the way he's crashed in the 3 reds from distance, that he's cueing okay. I don't think it's anything technical in his game, just a matter of self-belief. And there's another one.
1.
Well, I'm not sure if he can get directly to the black. Yes, it's tight actually. He probably feels he can. It's a strange way to play it, isn't it, with all that topspin? Cue ball's always going to arc and come back down the table. The harder you hit those, the more topspin.
8.
The more that the ball stays at the end. The ball over the hole was. This seems to have discovered that's a plant to the right middle. Puts his hand up because he knew nothing of the plant, so he went around and looked at it. Yes, red colour. I think he really could do with this. He's actually
14.
He's not exactly all out, but he's scrambling around to win this frame, having missed a couple of pots.
15.
Best of 7. If you go 2-0 down, you're not starting exactly the way you would like. It's been 27 minutes of toil, this frame, actually, in contrast to the opener.
.42 points in front, Sean Murphy. Just taking a peek at the scoreboard, which makes pleasant reading for him. A couple of snookers needed by Robertson. What a pot that is!
23.
Fantastic, wasn't it? That's a bit more like it.
Sean Murphy, 23 in front.
Well, there's a whole slew of reds that Sean Murphy's spotting from distance, which are spectacular. None more so than this one. He's back on level terms at 1-1. In the West Midlands of England, Sean Murphy, the defending champion, is taking on Jimmy Robertson, who's making his first appearance in this event. And so far, well, the first 2 frames have been shared. Contrasting snooker, though. The opening frame, really attractive. The second one, it lasted 28 minutes and was the definition of scrappy.
That was much too thick. Safety shot. He's lucky the red has not gone over the middle. It's a fine safety shot. Blocked off the right side of the table. So the right side of the table is where he looked completely unavailable to him. That's a good follow-up, actually. Well, he been drilling in a few of these long pots, but this one would be quite dangerous, I think. It's a question of what other options he has. Here we go. Stand by your beds. Playing safe instead.
Foul.
Bet he wishes he'd gone for it now.
Robertson,
Being off is infuriating, actually.
Had to find a couple of gaps there, which he did. The end result, though, as you say, Neil, annoying.
Yes, it actually pots from there. And he just crept in.
1.
Questions to be asked here. Is he on the pink to the middle? The red tried to cover it. Black doesn't go. And he is certainly on the pink. Big shot.
Our referee just looking to see whether the pink
7.
will go on its own spot. It doesn't, so the next available high colour available, which is the brown. That was a pressure ball as well, because the cue ball was too
7.
close to the side cushion for comfort, and that was Robertson's worst mistake of the match so far. Not easy, but it's one he should have potted.
Yes, a little bit of movement actually, wasn't there, on that shot? He stood over it a long time.
One. Eight. 9.
Well, he might just think it's worth the risk of nudging into the bunch. He doesn't have to, because he's got a few reds on, but the fact that he's got a red next to the cue ball, he might think about going into them. That's always going to be there as an option. Can play on a loose one though as well.
Sixteen. 17. 24.
At no point last year here did Sean Murphy have an easy ride. I will recall his first match, he had to battle hard to beat Mark King, another really tough competitor, 4-2 in the first round. And he overcame Michael White, 6-4.
Bunch, because he's on this red.
So it's 3.
That beautiful cue action, the languid backstroke,
40.
the pause, the authoritative follow through.
It's always been there, hasn't it? From the first time I ever saw him play. He was always a very good junior. He turned professional actually
41.
age 15, which at the time he had to get special dispensation. And like so many, he didn't last on the tour very long. Even though he was a good player, it was hard to stay on the tour then as a newcomer. Got back on and, well, he's won all 3 of the big events. and this one, Champion of Champions. Interesting that Phil, to actually qualify last year, he won one of the smaller events, the Gibraltar Open, which is a weekend tournament.
46.
So that was his way of getting into the Champion of Champions.
Seven.
Yes, it's a Q Sports Festival down there in March. They play
54.
a snooker world ranking event, also the World Pool Masters. Actually in a place called the Tercentenary Hall, which is attached to the Victoria Stadium, where
55.
Gibraltar's football team at the moment are doing so well. I suppose right now, Neil, you're waiting for me to say, well, in this break, he's been rock
60.
solid.
Well, I was hoping you wouldn't say it, actually.
61.
It's been a good break. You know, you know that he's not been at his absolute best in the first couple of frames. But what he has done, he's punished Jimmy Robertson. He missed a, well, it wasn't a simple red by any means, but it's one that he would need to get.
66.
Rolling it in from on the cushion rail, and he's had him watched since.
$67.
So that was frame ball.
72.
Murphy 61 in front, 59 on. One more red needed to make absolutely sure. And there it is.
73. Eight. 81.
Now just a matter of whether Murphy can go on and make a century. They've been in short supply for him this season.
88.
He's only made 4 so far, which for him in early November is a very low number.
89.
Yeah, when you think that Neil Robertson is beyond 30.
$96.
That's a real shame.
96.
No century for Sean Murphy, but a settling break of 96. And with that, the defending champion hits the front.
Sean Murphy to break.
The latest news from here in Coventry is that Sean Murphy is halfway to opening his title defence with a victory. He leads Jimmy Robertson 2-1 after losing the opener. That doesn't look to be the best of breaks, though. Needs cover with a bulk colour. When a red comes down the table like that, it can spell danger.
I never really know how it happens, because the cue ball goes where you want it to. The red just creeps up, doesn't it? It has to be the contact on the red is a bit too thick.
1.
It's an annoyance when it happens to you, though. Break off and that red goes up. Give your opponent a chance, but you've done really nothing to deserve. Fairly unconvincing shot, that. don't really know what red he played on. Just nudged into the bunch. That's much better though. Good comeback.
7.
He's always been a really good potter, Robertson. Plagued by inconsistency over the years. One day he'd be hot, the next day not. But you can't help but feel that that victory in Belgium
12.
has elevated him to a different level.
I've always thought he fitted into a category of players. Very dangerous. You know, get him on a good day, you're knocking big breaks, centuries and the lot. But you know, is he a winner? The answer is yes, it turns out.
$13.
And when you're in a final these days, it's probably best in terms of dampening down the pressure not to know what. So many ranking points, a place here in the Champion of Champions. You vastly improve your chances of being in the World Grand Prix, the Players'
19.
Championship, maybe even the Tour Championship. So many ancillary benefits.
He's played that very well.
20.
Well, that is a good shot. Open the reds up and gain position on the pink. Our old friend the Wasp is back. That's the last thing you need really when you're playing in a big tournament and you're trying to focus all your attention into a shot, something buzzing. Not your opponent buzzing either. Glad it never put him off. Referee just double checking that the pink spot is no longer, or still not
26.
available, I should say.
$27.
To
33.
leave this tournament having earned more prize money this season than any other season before. And bear in mind there's still 6 months to go.
34. $39. $40.
You can never call him orthodox. He's got that flying elbow. But it certainly works for him.
Yes, he sort of cues a bit under his body, and you say the elbow juts out. Sort of not dissimilar to Ray Reardon. And of course, won 6 world titles, so
46.
it's not the worst way of playing. Probably not in the coaching
47.
manuals, but it's a good job not everyone plays it the same way this game. There you can see what I mean, the way it juts out, it's a perfect view of it.
$52. $53.
Just a bit more work to do to finish the job off here. It's been a good break so far. But he has to make it a frame winner. I thought the shot where he stunned the red in, opened the bunch, got on the pink, which was on the black spot, was the
59.
key to it all. It was really well played.
60.
So we have 5 reds remaining. That means 67 on the table. This is Murphy's last hope.
66.
I felt this was the shot that really made it all possible. Just quite beautifully played. Opened the reds up. Really good control onto the pink. We've got a game on our hands here. Both players would dearly love to be playing tonight. Best of 11. Great atmosphere.
79.
Chance to make it through your group. It would be a disappointment to go home, and they're both starting to warm to the task. Turning into a good match, Phil.
Just thinking, you know, for nearly 40 years now, crowds around the world have been shouting out, "Come on, Jimmy." It's Jimmy Robertson they're shouting for these days, and even when he misses, he gets close to another pocket.
Robertson 80. And frame.
That particular mistake did not matter. Robertson, very smoothly and efficiently, is back on level terms. A cracking opening match in this tournament. It's 2-2.
Thank you. Frame 5. Jimmy Robertson to break.
It started out as the best of 7, now effectively distilled to a best of 3. Many tournaments begin as a slow burner. This one, not so. First match, first good match.
Yes, we just did that one difficult frame, but 3 breaks of 80 or above in that hour of play. Well, that's a good cue ball. I don't know if there's a gap through to the red. I think there is. It's not an easy shot, mind you. Murphy probably a little bit aggrieved to have left that. He's played quite a good shot. Now when we get the fly out of the way, does he decide to roll the green ball in or roll in behind it? A lot on his mind out there, Jimmy Robertson. Seeing more and more of the players coolly knock in bolt colours to the middle pockets. Now, this is not an easy shot by any stretch of the imagination. Playing down towards the reds as well. As I say, it comes with plenty of risk attached, because you present your opponent with a great chance. A little bit of movement wasn't there in the arm. I know that's kind of part of his game. But it didn't go through in a particularly straight line.
And when the shoulder gets into a shot like that, when there's upper body movement, the opponent comes to the table intent on creating as much damage as possible. Here's the shot, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a hard game out there, and I used to move around all over the place at times, but he didn't keep very still on it, and shoulder movement is exactly what it was. It was a difficult one. And of course, the other point about it, it doesn't have to play the green. If he's worried about it, he can always play safe or roll in behind it. As I say, that's the chance you take. The modern game, players want to be more attacking, but you've got to get the ball. If you don't knock it in, you present your opponent, in this case the defending champion, with a gilt-edged chance.
Eight. $15.
I think from Murphy's body language, when the cue ball hit the top cushion there, he was a little concerned. He might not be on the red, but it made the journey easily in the end.
16.
Well, I thought he split them okay. There was a red that just went straight in front of the cue ball and blocked off everything. Look, there's a lot of skill in going into the bunch, but you need some good fortune along the way.
Shamrock 23.
I think if you said to every single top player in the game, what kind of luck would you want if you had a wish? I think they would want to have a good split when they go into the balls, because you do have to rely on fortune, as Neil said.
Well, the cue ball is not back anywhere near as far as he wanted it, which means that Murphy will be tempted here. Probably a long red, probably trying to get the cue ball back down for the green, perhaps. Brilliant.
One.
Green is actually quite close to the cushion. It's, you know, it's not a simple shot at pace. He should get it. Yeah, solid. Still getting to grips with the newer tables, and you always wonder how they're going to go along the cushions. It seems that they go in fairly well. I think so far the match has been played to a pretty good standard.
I would definitely concur with that. The two most glaring mistakes have come from Murphy. A couple of missed blacks off the spot, but there were no issues with that one. He cued it beautifully.
$13. $18.
A little look at the scores. He's 40 in front. He's got more work to be done here. Plenty of points are remaining.
19.
He's probably working out as to whether he can win the frame without opening the 4 reds up, which into bulk in the next couple of shots.
24. $25.
Now that's illuminating. We've been saying that Murphy's not been in the best of form, which is the truth. And yet, he's 94% pot success rate
30.
deep into frame 5. Good going, Neil.
Yes, he's playing okay and cueing well as ever. Just looking to finish off this frame now. Yes, it's an awkward one
31.
for him. Now, could he have played on the red that's on the cushion, or does he go into the bunch? He needs another red. I suppose with the red on the side cushion, he can't really play on that, and he might want to keep it there. So now, this is quite an important shot. Frame's not over. Very delicate little cannon. Oh, it's got to give me the next one.
36.
The sighting tendency with these so often is to overcut them. Murphy, though, into the heart of the
37.
pocket. Excellent. Well, he's not been on display at all
44.
yet this season, but I think he is now. The real Sean Murphy has turned up in Coventry.
45. $52. 53. 60. 61. 68.
Few oohs and ahs, but that was a tough one to pot.
Sean Murphy, 68.
Overall, a very good frame
And
for
frame.
Sean Murphy, who's back in the lead, this time at 3 frames to 2.
Thank you. Frame 6. Sean Murphy to break.
Sean Murphy approaches the table to break off in the 6th frame. He will be quietly confident, but taking absolutely nothing for granted. One more frame required to get over the line.
Well, his disappointment there was evident when he crashed into the brown ball full on. He slips beyond it, of course, it's a top safety shot, but the way that made a great sound as well.
1.
Really to bang in the middle of the pocket.
pots from distance, 9 of 12 so far in this match. But a couple of the misses have occurred towards the end of frames when they're wrapped up. So in live play, from distance, he's been deadly.
Think of Murphy as someone who maybe hasn't had the best 12 months, but he's been in 3 quite bruising finals. One here, which he beat Ronnie O'Sullivan, and lost to O'Sullivan in 2 others, UK. And also the Players' Championship. Aside from that, you know, he's had a few disappointments, but you always think that you look at Murphy and you know he's a top player. There's no doubt about that. Not someone you ever think their ranking is any danger of slipping, and he's going to be out in the wilderness playing in qualifiers and stuff.
We'll find out in due course, but I just get the impression he's practiced really hard for this tournament. He didn't qualify, as I said before, for Darching last week for the International Championship, and that might have done him a favour, you know. Comes in here, well prepared.
$11. $17.
I think he was looking at whether the pink will pot to the right corner. Can go up for a lower value colour if he feels that it doesn't, but on the basis of that shot, it certainly
18.
goes. And it will pass the reds.
$24.
Plenty of options. Might fancy getting thrown to the black, if not pink to the left middle. Looking to put this match away quickly, which I always think is a sign of a really top player. They get close to the winning line and then they just finish the job off pretty emphatically. That's what Murphy is looking to do here.
Let's just make the assumption that he's going to win. If he
31.
does so, I think he'll gain an awful lot of positives.
32.
Just the kind of result and indeed performance he so badly needs. Work still to be done though.
$39.
Well, Jimmy Robertson's acquitted himself well on his debut in this Champion of Champions. A couple of breaks
40.
of 80 plus.
$46. $47.
I don't know about you, Neil, but when Murphy missed the black off the spot in the first frame and Robertson stepped in, for me the alarm bells were ringing for Murphy, but he's responded excellently.
Yes, he's missed a couple of blacks off the spot, but he's put all that behind him. That was early on, like you say. He's got better and better as the match has gone on. And he's on the brink now of a win. After all the great memories of 12 months ago, he wouldn't have wanted to be somewhat ignominiously knocked out in the first afternoon.
6-3.
Five reds left, and so this is frame ball, the kind of frame balls you dream about. Frame and match ball.
Yes, and of course, if he's, the question is potting it. If the red goes, it goes. Let's just check the scores. He knows he's virtually there. Now that's a great shot. The red obviously wasn't available. And you always want that
70.
one pot after frame ball's gone in, which seals it. Well, I think he'll be quite pleased with this.
71.
You mentioned his pot success up to 95%. That's excellent. Been a good display from the champion.
And now the ability to open his shoulders.
76.
End of break, but in the opening match of this year's Champion of Champions, Murphy's Law has applied. Sean Murphy
relinquishing his title here in Coventry, safely into tonight's group semi-final.